Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to just kick us off quickly for this session this afternoon. We're so delighted to be here for the Machines 3D Maps Summit with the showcasing our collaboration between the Machines 3D Maps project and the David Rumsey Map Collection. In this public part of the summit, we're going to be showing you a glimpse of what we've been up to all year. You're going to hear presentations from the whole team. Yeah, so just before we dive in to this afternoon, I want to recognize that historical mapping practices, which we're going to be talking about all day today, in the Bay Area, California, and around the world have erased, misrepresented, and allowed non-native peoples to profit from and take ownership of land. So in creating data from digitized maps that were often printed to support, document, or represent the outcomes of destructive acts, we're responsible for thinking carefully about how we reuse, enrich, and engage with this content. So in the ongoing research and community engagement project that you're going to be hearing about today, we want to acknowledge these harms and seek to understand the limits and opportunities for examining maps to study historical human experiences. Great. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David Rumsey, who's going to be chairing the session this afternoon.
In the first part of this afternoon, wonderful collaborators who have built this system are going to show you and us basically how it's all put together, from the back end to the front end and so on. So we're going to start with Jina Kim from the University of Minnesota. She's going to talk about the back-end system, really, the mapKurator system that extracting and linking text from large numbers of historical map scans. Jina is a second-year PhD student in the Department of Computer Science at the University of Minnesota. She's a member of the Knowledge Computing Lab led by Professor Yao-Yi Chang, who is here, other colleagues, and her interest in, she has interest in spatial AI and multimodal learning. So Jina, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and I'm going to introduce the mapKurator system, extracting and linking text from the large numbers of historical map scans. And it's super excited to be here in the David Rumsey Map Center. And I have across a few maps that we already processed with our mapKurator on the work papers. And I remember the moment that we got like 57K maps from David and Drake on our very powerful server called Sansa, which is in our lab, with the grant support from the David. And it has like 4 GPUs, and we could not have been able to process 57K maps without that server. So yeah, so for this outline of the presentation, I will first introduce the map processing with machine learning, like how our lab is conducting a research on this problem. And with the goal of the mapKurator system, I will quickly overview the overall pipeline of each modules on the web mapKurator. And we will also go through the integration of the mapKurator and the Recognitive, and we will have the end of year-end summary of this project with the release of the open source code and documentation to be able to contribute to these communities. So in our lab, we have been processed heterogeneous spatial data, including the historical map scans, satellite imagery, or the spatial data, like such as the web documents that incorporate the geographical locations. And in particular to the map processing part, we have been developing machine learning technologies for extracting information from the scan maps. And for the geographic features such as line, points, polygons, we have won the DARPA Map Competition Award. And also for the text on maps, we are continuing working on the text spotting from maps and the building the machine learning models for linking the map text to the external knowledge bases. So why do we need the mapKurator system? We want to be able to find the relevant maps and make their content very useful. So we know that a lot of historians, geographers, and librarians are having so much effort to create the metadata to enable the search of the valuable historical maps, and to have the more advanced search query, which will in the following presentations, we want to leverage the valuable information on the map text itself. So here is a general outline of our mapKurator pipeline. So there comes the two different steps. The first one is the text detection and recognition. And the second one is the PostOCR and EntityLinking. So for text detection and recognition, it detects the text area of a map image, and it detects with the bounding polygons. And for the recognition, we want to convert that bounding polygon to a string format, which are the text inside that text area. And for the PostOCR and EntityLinking, we want to have a more better suggestion on the spotting results and have a linkage to the external knowledge bases, which can leverage more advanced search on the knowledge bases. So here are 4 different inputs that we have been using. So first one is the integrated metadata. This metadata goes with the image path and the ground control points and the metadata that we already have on the Rumsey collections. And for the second part, we are importing the map images in the JP2 or the image format, and we also are using the knowledge bases. In our first test case, we are using the OpenStreetMap databases, but since it's modularized, it can be converted to the other historical gazetteer set if it's applicable to our pipeline. And for the third one, we are having the ground truth annotation to actually evaluate our models and how our mapKurator pipeline works on the scanned maps. So on the first part of the text detection and recognition, since we are taking a large scan of the map, we want to spot it in detail on the map patches. So we are splitting into a different smaller set of the patches with the image cropping modules. And we are setting it as to patch text spotter to retrieve the patch level text detection and recognition, which is in the patch coordinates. And to be able to visualize this result on the QGIS or other GIS tools, we are converting into 1 GeoJSON per map scan, and that's in GeoJSON format with the output of the module 3. And for the spotter evaluator, it's leveraging the ground truth annotations that we have to evaluate evaluate the model performance of the spotter. And for the GeoCoordinateConverter, it's taking the ground control points from the integrated metadata to convert it to the merged text detection and recognition results. So it's also preserving the image coordinates from the module 3. So we are having 2 different versions of the coordinates, the GeoCoordinates and the image coordinates. And for the PostOCR and EntityLinker, we are suggesting the more better candidates of the spotter results and retrieving the linkage unique identifier from the knowledge bases. So I will start to hop into the all results of all our modularized ones. So for the first module is the image cropping module that we want to crop in this 1000 by 1000 pixels of map scan. And for the patch text spotter, we are using 2 different pre-trained spotting models. So since it's also modularized, we can easily switch the model which one we are going to use. So the first one was the tester from the published on the computer vision venue, and we are transiting that, advancing that to be able to detect or recognize the text labels more correctly on the maps. And it's trained on the syntactic training data on the scene map and the scene text, which I will provide some examples for the slides after. And it also supports the multilinear spotting. So since the original text spotter is pre-trained on the scene images, like the advertisement or the books, it cannot really deal with the challenges that we currently have on historical maps. So to deal with the historical maps, we are creating the scene map to use the location names from the OpenStreetMap and other gazetteer and mimic the text and background styles of the real historical maps. So these are the examples of the scene maps that we have used for training the model. And since scene map has been created to different versions of languages, we can also support Russian, Arabic, Chinese, and Japanese. And this is the spotting results on the green label with the green bounding box and the language that we that are recognized from the spotter model. And for the patch text spotter and patch to map merging, this is the snapshot of the one patch that is taken from this large map scans. And for the one GeoJSON file, we are ultimately getting the file from the one image. And if you do have the ground control points in your metadata, it's important to have the georeferenced information as well. So for the GeoCoordinateConverter, it converts the pixel coordinates from the one GeoJSON file to the geocoordinates, which is in orange boxes on the right corner. And for the, so this is the following result of the GeoJSON file, how it's converting the geocoordinates of the spotting results. So the blue little bounding polygons on the right side are the all spotting results, and the green bounding polygon is the map extent that we used for the PostOCR and the linking module. So taking that visualization of the on the QGIS, we can also use the PostOCR label, which is corrected as Jina. And for the keyword matching method, we could also retrieve the OpenStreetMap IDs, which are the unique identifiers of the OpenStreetMap geoentities on the right corner. So you can get Jina or Jina PostOCR or the other relevant entities in this green map boundary. Yeah, so to make this GeoJSON files very useful, since it's also containing the imperfect text labels, we are also integrating with GeocoordinateConverter, which is the open source annotation platform. And here it's having the screenshot with the 16 bounding points with how to edit the spotting results on the GeocoordinateConverter. So here is the our summarization of the year-end summary of this project. So we handed over the 3 different versions of the results. So we have initially tested the tester spotter, and we are outputting the different results from the different versions of the spotter, and also the different improvements from the each module as well. And for the version 3, we are supporting the multilinear text spotter from the 4 different language groups. And in addition to the 57K maps of the David Rumsey map collection, we also have processed the December maps, which is 16K maps from the Library of Congress, and the Ordnance Survey maps from the NLS, and also the Japan maps from KG, who visited us in the last month. And to be able to contribute this mapKurator and to be very useful on the other libraries as well, we are making it in an open source code, and we are under development on the documentation as well. So code is released on the GitHub repository, and there are plenty of documentations with the simple tutorials, and we are also publishing the integration with GeocoordinateConverter on the Docker Hub. So here are the takeaways from the mapKurator pipeline. So we are taking the automatic machine learning system, the mapKurator, and we have provided the syntactic training data for text spotting, for historical maps, and the supporting for the multilingual text spotting on the historical maps, and the integration with GeocoordinateConverter as well. So thank you for listening to the presentations. And if you're interested in trying mapKurator, please feel free to reach out. And we thanks to all the sponsors and collaborators, and also our mapKurator members of our pipeline. Thank you.